Pray that the faithful have better success saving the church than the Red Sox have had saving the postseason. Hope perhaps the Indians got on that one branch of the Green Line, Arbor Way, that does not stop at the home of Fenway Park. Any amount of Alomars can apparently beat Nomar. From Fox Park, small concession stands, smaller clubhouses, but we prefer the tradition. It's the AL Division Series Game 3 pregame show alongside Steve Lyons. I'm Keith Olbermann, and as if being down to the Indians 2-zip were not bad enough, Nomar Garciaparra, the shortstop of the Red Sox, his wrist is bothering him again. He is not in today's starting lineup.
And this amazes me, Keith, because I'll tell you what, I know Nomar a little bit, and there is not a bigger gamer out there right now. If he can't play, it's unbelievable that he won't be in the lineup unless his wrist would be broken. Same thing with the Mets. Mike Piazza hasn't played the last 2 days because of a thumb problem, but they're both available to be in the game at some point in time, either pinch hitting, pinch running. I don't understand this. If I'm available to pinch hit, I'm available to play. It's the playoffs right now.
Yeah, what are they waiting for, Christmas? Each division series could be over within the next 8 hours, which would be awfully good news for Piazza because it's shades of Mickey Mantle developing an abscess in his hip when he got a vitamin shot and missed the '61 World Series. The Mets superstar missed his second consecutive game today after an allergic reaction to a cortisone shot for his ailing thumb. Without him, the Mets rattled the Snakes last night. Anyway, today they had the chance to eliminate Arizona in a game that is still in progress, and it is a wild one. Edgardo Alfonso, who else, breaks the scoreless tie in the fourth. Deep, and I don't think it's playable. Brian Anderson, solo shot, his third of the series, 1-0 Mets. In the top of the eighth, though, Jay Bell against Armando Benitez.
Benitez with a history of giving up big hits. In the '97 ALCS, he gave up 3 of the game-winning hits to the Indians.
The 2-1 Met lead becomes a 3-2 Diamondback lead, but in the bottom of the eighth, Tony Womack gets hit in the glove. Fly ball that puts runners at second and third. A sacrifice fly would score the tying run, which is where they are. But then Darrell Hamilton set a screamer down the line that evidently third base coach Cookie Rojas, number 8 of the Mets, thought was fair. The umpire he doubled pushed in the chest. Charlie Williams ruled it foul. Replay suggested it was foul. Cookie having a flashback to the '64 Phillies.
Clearly a foul ball, and a couple big plays in this game by the home plate umpire Jerry Davis. Also got a great call at home plate, made the right call. The umpires are doing their job. This is a big problem with Cookie Rojas going out there and shoving Charlie Williams.
They're tied in the ninth. Meanwhile, the Braves and the Astros, it was 7-0 Atlanta as they look to close out the Stros, but the Astros rallied on a Ken Caminetti 3-run home run. The AL series of both possible sweeps. Tonight, our buds on NBC, Messrs. Costas, Morgan, and Gray will bring you Esteban Loaiza versus Roger Clemens, who has started 6 postseason games in his life and won once. So, Steve, again, we bring in Armando Benitez in this scenario, and as he did to the Yankees, or for the Yankees, with the Orioles, and involving with the Indians as well, he is not a postseason pitcher yet.
He has not proven that. He's given up some huge home runs, some big-time hits, and at times where he can absolutely lose games. Now, here's a guy who's kind of learning how to be a closer and has been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years now. With John Franco not as effective as he was, they have to use him in that role more often. He's going to have to start getting it done for that club.
All right, coming up here, more on the Sox and the Indians, the improbable story of Ramon Martinez, and the perhaps just as improbable story of Cleveland starter Dave Burba. He's 3-0 in postseason play, but today will be his first start ever.
Chrysler Concorde. With the power of a multi-valve V6 and the agility of a 4-wheel independent suspension.
I didn't know Davis could move like that.
I told him to think of himself as something powerful and agile.
Wonder what he was thinking.
Everybody take your seats. Okay, class, let's try some basic conversation. Katrina, does this bus go downtown? Okay, maybe not. Phil, how many stops to Wall Street?
The stock market.
On Ameritrade.
Oh,
you trade on Ameritrade? Yeah. One trade, $8. The research is free.
More Ameritrade.
I live for Ameritrade.
Ameritrade. Call now.
A baby monitor.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Buy 4 Michelin tires now and get a free emergency roadside kit. Play the Michelin Buy 4 and Score game and maybe win a Dodge Viper, plus other great prizes. See your participating Michelin dealer by October 31st.
A 19-year-old rookie cop.
Picked a hell of a day to start.
Old enough to join the force.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! Relax, I'm a cop.
Young enough to make a difference.
Drop it!
From the producer of Heat, The Negotiator, and L.A. Confidential.
You're under arrest!
Ryan Caulfield, Year One. Premieres Friday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Before Game 3 of the Red Sox and Indians. And if there is to be a Game 4, Boston will have to get a terrific game today from one of the members of the Dan Duquette Home for Wayward Pitchers, Ramon Martinez, part of something done just twice in baseball history. This is not just unusual, it is virtually unprecedented. Baseball has always had its pitching brothers. Between them, Joe and Phil Niekro won 539 games. But the 3 years they spent together with the Braves, then the Yankees, were not playoff seasons. Nor were there any for Gaylord and Jim Perry, nor Christie and Henry Mathewson, nor even Rick and Paul Russell. To find two pitchers working for a championship team in the same postseason, you have to go back to the 1934 World Series and the Gas House Gang. Dizzy and Daffy Dean, or as Dizzy called them, Me and Paul. Between them, the two Cardinals starters split the 4 victories over Detroit in the Cards championship. We've had a pitcher whose brother was his catcher, Mort and Walker Cooper, in 3 straight series during World War II. But except for the Deans, these brothers in the postseason are rare. Truly a potent double martinis. Red Sox fans can always use a drink. The Bennis brothers pitched for the Cards in the '96 postseason. So let's say Ramon no-hits them today. So what? What are the odds of the Red Sox winning 3 in a row?
Not good. Not against a team that swings the bats like the Indians do. And, you know, there's been so many turning points in this series. Let's take a look at all the turning points that have happened so far in the American League Divisional Series, starting with those Red Sox and Pedro Martinez. Pedro dominating, as usual. But then he goes out of the game with a bad back, and you can just feel the air coming out of that Red Sox team. They start making mental mistakes and then a physical mistake. John Valentin, with 2 outs in the inning, cannot give a team like the Indians 4 outs. A championship team gets the next guy out. A team that doesn't win championships has the next ball land in the seats, and that's what Jim Thome did to him. Then you come up in the 9th, Travis Fryman, nice little base hit to left field, game over. You're down 1-0 now to the Indians. It's no good. Then, pitching and defense is what got the Red Sox here. Here's an easy double play ball with 2 very slow runners, and we airmail it into the seats. That opens up the door for Harold Baines to cap off a huge 6-run inning with a big home run right there, and now you're down 2-0. Go to the Rangers and Yankees. Bernie Williams, sometimes he can spark his bat by playing tremendous defense. He goes out there, makes a couple great plays in the field, and then drives in 6 runs. You got ALDS on the mound, who's clearly their #1 starter right now, is just on fire on the mound. Game 2, it's all about bad defense for the Texas Rangers and Andy Pettitte gutting up and getting it done when he has to. This ball's got to be caught in that Texas Ranger outfield, and it doesn't get caught. It ends up being the Red Sox going down hard, and the Rangers going down hard as well.
All right, before we go to Fenway Park, let's show you that controversial play at Shea Stadium. With the runners moving, Darryl Hamilton, a screamer down the line. What you see kick up there is not chalk, but dirt. It was a foul ball right to the left of the line. Charlie Williams right on top of it makes the call, and then the cookie crumbled. And we'll go to Fenway Park. We'll keep you updated on both of these games as the Mets are still tied, and the Astros are rallying against the Braves. We'll be here with the highlights throughout. Now, in a moment, please let us take you out to the ball game.
Gorgeous autumn Saturday in Boston, and we're at Fenway Park for Game 3 in this American League Division Series. The Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox. The Tribe already up 2-0. 1 win away from the League Championship Series. The ultimate prize, their first World Series title since 1948. Meanwhile, for Boston, trying to survive for another day. And now, all of a sudden, the news comes down the trail. They will play without all-star shortstop Nomar Garciaparra. And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Alongside Bob Brentley, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to Playoff Baseball on Fox. Bobby, a lot of people very much believe in the curse of the Bambino, especially with Pedro Martinez going down in Game 1, and now Garciaparra out of the lineup for Game 3.
Well, even the disbelievers are starting to believe in the curse. Nomar Garciaparra was struck on the right wrist by a pitch back on September 25th by right-hander Al Reyes from the Baltimore Orioles. Been very slow to recover from that injury, so much to the point that he's not in the lineup today. He's been taking treatments throughout the day, but is unable to answer the bell.
So Garciaparra already with a couple of hits, including a home run in this series, not in the lineup. They have to rely on Ramon Martinez, the older brother of Pedro Martinez, to try and keep him alive for another day. And Bobby, he is facing one powerhouse offensive team in the Indians.
So the Indians have gone to the postseason every year since 1995, and the common perception around baseball is they just slug people into submission to get to the postseason. Well, that's partially true. They scored over 1,000 runs this year. They led the league in stolen bases and RBIs, but they also are able to play small ball. They led the league in sacrifice bunts, situational hitting. They led the league in sacrifice flies. Mike Hargrove said that this 1999 Indians team has been by far his favorite team to manage. Guys are a lot of fun to be around, and they perform on a daily basis out there on the field.
The Indians trying to end this series today. Dave Burba will get the ball for Cleveland. The first pitch is coming up.
On Fox is brought to you by Merrill Lynch. No matter what you want to achieve, we can help. Ask Merrill Lynch. By Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Intel's Web Outfitter service for Pentium 3 processor owners, free at Intel.com. And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you.
We need.
We're at Fenway Park in Boston, where the faithful believe the Red Sox can find a way to recapture the magic, Bobby, which led them to this wild card spot in the American League postseason to begin with. They've had an outstanding year under Jimmy Williams. Many believe he is a hands-down winner for the American League's Manager of the Year. We talked to him about his ball club, and he still very much believes they can come back and send this one to a Game 4 tomorrow.
How much I love baseball and watching these kids play. And I really like this team we have. Unique group, but special group. A lot of baseball players, they like to play. They're looking forward to playing. Regardless of what happens, they're looking forward to playing. But I like us a lot.
Today they will be without their all-star shortstop and the American League batting champion, Nomar Garciaparra. Boy, what a huge blow to the Red Sox.
I don't think there's any player in the postseason that means more to his team than Nomar Garciaparra does to the Boston Red Sox. It was going to be a tall order for the Red Sox to climb back into this division series down 2-0 to a very strong Cleveland Indians ball club. Without Nomar Garciaparra, it's nearly impossible.
The Red Sox have taken the field, and let's take a look at the Cleveland Indians batting order. Brought to you by Budweiser. Kenny Lofton leads off in center field. Omar Vizquel at short. Roberto Alomar is at second base. The amazing Manny Ramirez is in right field. A monster season for the Tribe. Jim Thome up to his postseason tricks already with a pair of home runs. He's at first. Harold Baines at DH. David Justice in left. Travis Fryman at third base. And Sandy Alomar Jr. behind the plate. On the mound for the Boston Red Sox, the older brother of Pedro Martinez, Ramon Martinez.
Well, you see his numbers in 4 starts this season. Only a total of 20 2/3 innings pitched, a low hit total, high strikeout total. Ramon Martinez, he's pitched very well since coming back from the shoulder surgery. His best pitch is still a tailing fastball. Used to hit mid-90s, now will hit 90 on occasion. Has a very good straight changeup. He's basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Fastball, changeup, will mix in an occasional breaking ball.
Well, for many fans in the National League, Ramon Martinez has been one of the best, going back to his days with the Dodgers when he first broke in back in 1988. Won 123 games. He's thrown a no-hitter. He struck out as many as 18 batters in a ball game. And like I said, Bobby, for National League fans, they know how good this guy can really be.
Well, there was a time he was the stronger of the Martinez brothers. Used to have an overpowering fastball in the mid to upper 90s, a devastating changeup. Has never really had to develop a good breaking ball and still does not have a very consistent slider. We'll see him go a lot with straight stuff today, fastballs and changeups.
They've gone to the 10th inning at Shea Stadium. The Diamondbacks and the Mets in a wild one. Tied at 3 in the 10th. Meanwhile, Houston batting now in the bottom of the 9th inning, trying to avoid elimination at the hands of the Atlanta Braves. 7-5 Atlanta. So we're set to go. Kenny Lofton to lead things off against Ramon Martinez, 31-year-old right-hander. Pitch on the way to Lofton, and he takes high, and we're underway. Lofton, a .301 hitter during the regular season. 7 home runs, 39 runs batted in. Pops it up to the right side of the infield. Offerman waving off Nixon, and Lofton retired. Let's take a look at Boston defensively behind Ramon Martinez today. They'll go with O'Leary, Lewis in center, Trot Nixon in right. Valentin at third base. Lou Merlone gets a nod at short in place of Garcia-Parra. He has started 17 games at short this year. Offerman at second. Mike Stanley again at first with a battery of Martinez and Jason Varitek. As always, we remind you this broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Omar Vizquel shows bunt, looks at a strike, count even at 1-1. Vizquel a .333 hitter during the season.
Vizquel showing bunt and then pulling the bat back. He was going to try to slap that ball by Valentin at third base.
On the outside corner from Ramon Martinez. And it's 1-2. Martinez making his third postseason start today. He won his last 2. And it's taken high and outside. Martinez injured his shoulder 2 years ago. Tried to pitch through a slightly torn rotator cuff last season, and then was put on the shelf before surgery on June the 30th. And that one inside. 3-2 now on Vizquel.
That's a pitch that Martinez is going to have to be very careful with. When he comes inside on the Indians' left-handed hitters with that fastball, his ball naturally tails back over the plate.
Popped up into short right center. Offerman turning around and can't make the play. Vizquel a big turn at first, and he'll stop there with a bloop single.
The ball wasn't hit particularly hard, but Vizquel put it in a good place out there in shallow right center field. Jose Offerman going back, got turned around a couple times, looking over that right shoulder, has to turn back to his left, and that slight adjustment at the very end of the play did not allow him to catch up to that ball and make the catch.
Now Roberto Alomar. .323 hitter during the regular season. 24 home runs and 120 runs batted in. There are many people that will tell you that while there are better power numbers from a lot of players in the American League, Roberto Alomar could and should be the league's most valuable player.
Well, when you take into consideration the total package, there are very few players in either league that stack up to Robbie Alomar. Defensively, base running, his heads-up play on the field, and offensively, what he's provided for the Indians this year has just been amazing.
One on, one out. Strike called on the outside corner. We talked at length to Mike Hargrove before the game today about the speed he has in the front part of this order with Lofton and Vizquel and Alomar. Not as prone to run as often in this ballpark as he may somewhere else.
Yeah, he said they don't want to give away outs here at Fenway for obvious reasons. A very home run friendly ballpark, especially to left field. And when you have as many strong hitters in your lineup as Mike Hargrove has at his disposal, you just don't want to give away outs on the bases.
Indians 5 consecutive Central Division titles. They had 4 players that knocked in over 100 or more runs, including the man who bats now, Robbie Alomar. Vizquel extending his lead at first, and it's on the ground back to Martinez. Slow to get the ball to second, and they're unable to turn the double play. If Martinez gets it to the shortstop Merlone a little bit quicker, they turn to there. Jimmy Williams will come out and argue with Jim McKeon, the first base umpire.
It's not unusual to see a pitcher coming back from shoulder surgery look awkward when fielding and throwing the ball, and Ramon looks very awkward here. Takes a couple of steps in a crow hop, a very stiff shouldered throw to second base, and it looked like that jump at the bag by Roberto Alomar at the end of that play. It appeared that he was still in the air when that ball went into Mike Stanley's glove.
Everybody here in Boston still talking about the Red Sox inability to turn that double play on a ground ball off the bat of Sandy Alomar Jr. in Game 2. Jose Offerman throwing the ball away, and that opened the gates for a 5-run inning. They tacked on 6 more in an 11-1 rout.
And some of the blame for that aborted double play, possible double play, has to go to the first baseman, Mike Stanley. He's not a first baseman by trade. He's played there a lot this year, but he's been a catcher throughout his career. Doesn't have the same kind of fluid movements around first base that you see many regular first basemen have. A very good fielder, a very strong arm, as you might imagine, at first base. But on balls that are not thrown directly on line, he occasionally has problems getting to the wide throws or the high throws.
Manny Ramirez during the regular season, .333 batter, 44 home runs, and 165 runs batted in. However, he is still in search of his first hit during this division series, 0 for 3. The Astros have been eliminated by the Atlanta Braves in 4 games, 7-5 the final there. So now the Braves will have a little bit of time to kick back, relax, and await the outcome of that Arizona-New York Mets series. Boy, the beat goes on for the Atlanta Braves. Very similar in so many ways to this Cleveland Indians team, as well as the Yankees. All 3 dominant clubs during the regular season with a lot of postseason success.
I think in Atlanta, especially, you look at all the injuries they had this year. It's key people out for the entire season, other key people out for half the season, but they've developed a winning attitude there. Even the bench players on that Braves club expect to win every day they come to the ballpark.
In there, a strike on Manny Ramirez. 0-1. Of course, a lot of Cleveland fans will say, hey, nobody's been more injured than our ball club this season. They have used their opening day lineup a grand total of 4 times. The last time it happened was on the 22nd of April. That was during the regular season. All kinds of guys beat up. They pitch out, and Alomar not running. He had 37 stolen bases during the regular year, was thrown out just 6 times.
Jimmy Williams likes to use that pitch out. Gentlemen, start your Indians. They led the American League with 130 runs scored in the first inning of ball games throughout the regular season. Hey, with the top 4 hitters they have in this lineup, that's not surprising.
1-1 on Ramirez. Good off-speed pitch there from Martinez, his signature pitch during his heyday with the Dodgers.
Tremendous arm action on the straight changeup. Ball fades down and away from a lefty, down and into a righty. Puts it right out there on the outside corner. Very little you can do with that pitch as a hitter.
Now the Fenway Park crowd comes alive. Martinez ahead 1-2 on Manny Ramirez. 1 on, 2 out here in the opening inning. Got him looking. Boston bats when we return. An impressive first inning by Ramon Martinez.
Dallas, now the Astrodome belongs to the ages. John Rockers strikes out Jeff Bagwell as the tying run, strikes out Carl Everett as the tying run, gets Ken Caminiti to fly out to end the division series. The Braves, the first NL team to lose the opener and win the series, will now face the Mets or the Diamondbacks, who are tied at 3 in the 10th. Let's go to Tom Brenneman at Fenway Park.
Keith, thank you very much. Big story here, of course. Nomar Garcia-Parra today for Boston. Still being bothered by the wrist injury. So here's the Budweiser starting lineup under Jimmy Williams. It'll be Offerman at second, Valentin at third, Husky the DH. Stanley is at first base. And Stanley has had a solid series and a solid postseason in his career, a .405 batter in 12 games. Troy O'Leary is in left. They are relying on him big time. Lou Morloni at short. Varitek behind the plate. Darren Lewis in center. Trot Nixon is in right. And on the mound for the Indians, 15-game winner Dave Burba.
See Burba's numbers on the season, a career high in innings pitched. Allowed less than a hit per inning. Struck out 174 batters. He finished the season strong. His last 15 starts, 8-3. Good sinking fastball in the low 90s. He throws an occasional slider. His two best pitches off of the fastball are a split finger and a straight changeup. Not very many pitchers throw both. Burba will use the changeup when he wants to throw a strike. He'll use the split finger when he's going for a strikeout or a ground ball.
Burba, a native Buckeye, 33-year-old right-hander out of Dayton, Ohio. Played collegiately at Ohio State University. And he's played for both Ohio teams in his major league career, the Tribe and the Cincinnati Reds. He came in a trade from Cincinnati involving Sean Casey just prior to opening day of last year. Jose Offerman to lead it off, 2 of 6 in the series. He's drawn a couple of walks. Shows Button it's a strike. Offerman a .294 hitter during the regular season with 8 home runs, 69 batted in, led the American League with 11 triples. One and one.
Well, the Boston Red Sox second baseman, he's got a lot to offer, man. Ooh. Career high in homers, team leader in walks, led the American League with those 11 triples you mentioned.
That one inside Offerman, 2 balls and a strike during the regular season. Offerman hit .347 against Indians pitching, stole 5 of his 18 bases on the year against him. 2-1 pitch, fouled out of play.
Burba felt he was really helped a lot by watching Charles Nagy pitch game 2 of this series. Very similar to Nagy in the fact that they rely on control and movement rather than just velocity to get people out. I mean, it's tough to watch Bartolo Colon and try to take anything away from his starts if you're a pitcher in that rotation. I mean, the guy throws 100 miles an hour. Just overpowers opposing hitters. Nagy is more of a control artist, relies on a breaking ball, a changeup, and a moving heater. Burba said he really learned a lot watching Nagy start in game 2.
One hopper hit hard, but right at Alomar, and Offerman retired to begin the Boston first inning. Right now, a game break. Let's go to Keith Olbermann in our Fox Network Center.
Tom, it is all over at Shea Stadium. Todd Pratt filling in for Mike Piazza. No Piazza, no problem. Off the closer, Matt Manti. The series is over. The Mets have won in 4. 7 years ago, the Phillies wanted Todd Pratt to quit and go into coaching. Instead, he hits the series-winning homer, and the Mets will face the Braves for the National League Championship. Tom?
Keith, thank you very much. An outstanding year for the Diamondbacks under their manager Buck Showalter, but now a stunning upset in round 1. The Mets and the Braves, they met 6 times over the last 10 days of the season, with Atlanta winning 5 of the 6. Meanwhile, John Valentin, the batter for Boston, no score, bottom of the first inning, and Valentin 0 for 8 in the series, behind 0-2.
Well, for those of you in New York who have the headlines from the papers last week that said the Mets is dead, hang on to those. Those are going to be collector's items, just like Dewey defeats Truman. Boy, the Mets, what an amazing comeback in the last week of the regular season and then right into the postseason.
Valentin lifts the fly ball into short right field. Easy play for Ramirez, 2 away. The Indians solid defensively. Justice in left, Lofton in center, Ramirez in right. Ryman at third, Tomey at first. What a middle infield of Vizquel and Alomar, the 7-time Gold Glove winning second baseman. His brother Sandy Alomar Jr. behind the plate for Dave Burba.
Now these two middle infielders for the Cleveland Indians put on a highlight reel clinic almost on a nightly basis. Vizquel and Alomar, not only do they make the plays, they make them with some style.
Butch Husky is swing and a miss, and he's behind 0-2. Burba very good control early on, and that's a big key for him.
Absolutely. He will occasionally lose that control, pitch deep in the counts, get behind hitters, and they can afford to sit on pitches.
Popped up at Robbie Alomar, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3 go the Red Sox. We go to the second, no score.
99 Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Gateway. Gateway speaks to 50,000 people a day. Connect with us.
No score as we head to the top of the second inning. Boy, Fenway Park, so many nuances, so many nooks and crannies here at this historic old ballpark. One thing that shortstops need to be made aware of, balls hit down the third base line that go into foul territory and hit that wall will come back toward the infield. Visiting teams that come in here work on that during infield practice. They'll have their shortstop come over in this position to field any possible caroms that come off that wall. Of course, we know about the green monster out there in left field. Carl Yastrzemski, probably the best all time, playing the angles off that wall, decoying runners into believing he had a bead on a ball. Jim Rice, for many years, tremendous outfielder here in Boston. A lot of things you got to take into consideration playing outfield here at Fenway Park.
Jim Tomey will begin things in the Cleveland second inning. Tomey with 14 postseason home runs, one behind Babe Ruth's total, and only 4 away from Mickey Mantle and Reggie Jackson's all-time postseason record total of 18. He has homered in 4 consecutive postseason games. Boy, he steps up big time.
2 of the 4 have been grand slams.
Two and two on Tomey. He'll be followed by Harold Baines and then David Justice. Solid first inning by Ramon Martinez. He allowed 1 hit, little bloop single into right center off the bat of Vizquel. And he gets Tomey swinging, his second consecutive strikeout.
On the changeup once again from Martinez. You'll see the action on this ball down and away from Tomey. And along with that arm speed, Martinez makes that hitter believe it's going to be a fastball. Everything about his delivery tells the hitter a fastball is coming. And then that ball just dies as it gets into the hitting zone, tails down and away from the strong left-handed hitter.
Harold Baines hit a 3-run home run in game 2. He looks at a strike on the outside corner. Jimmy Williams told us that despite the fact that Martinez only made 4 regular season starts, as that one is popped up and playable. Short right field, Offerman backpedaling, and now Nixon will call him off for round number 2. I mean, he's thrown well over 90 pitches, Bobby, in 3 of those starts. And he has plenty of fuel in that tank today.
Well, a big key for Martinez and the Red Sox will be if he can have some low pitch count innings early in the ball game. They anticipate that around 100 pitches will be the maximum they can get out of Martinez tonight. Of course, with a little bit of adrenaline, given the circumstances, they might be able to get a little more, maybe a little less. He may run out of gas sooner because of that adrenaline. But if he can have some low pitch innings early in the game, that would allow him to work a little deeper.
Well, David Justice has seen more of Ramon Martinez than anybody on this Cleveland ball club, both spending the majority of their careers in the National League. That one outside, ball 1 to Justice. A .287 hitter during the regular season, 21 home runs and 88 batted in. You see the numbers on Justice. 32 career at-bats against Ramon Martinez, and there's a strike.
Boy, Dave Justice took that pitch well, however. He did not commit his weight. He kept his hands back well. He took the pitch for a strike. That was a changeup from Martinez. As a catcher, when you see a hitter do that, it makes you think twice about calling that changeup again. And that hitter keeps his hands back, keeps his head right down in that zone. Even if he takes a pitch for a strike, you want to see some kind of commitment from the hitter that tells you he was fooled by the changeup. Dave Justice did not give any commitment on that changeup.
The 2-1 pitch. High and away with a fastball. 3-1 to Dave Justice. 2 down, nobody on. Scoreless game here in the second inning at Fenway. Travis Fryman waits in the on-deck circle. There's that changeup on the 3-1. That tells you what kind of confidence Martinez has in that pitch.
Now 3-1, typically a very good hitter's count when most guys sit on fastballs, and Martinez comes with that tailing pitch just off of the outside corner.
3-2 to count on Justice. They're jumping here in Fenway on this late autumn Saturday afternoon. Ball 4, first walk of the game issued by Ramon Martinez.
Well, we showed you that graphic at the top of the show about the Indians and their ability to score runs and steal bases and slug other teams into submission. They can also bunt. They hit sac flies. They also draw a lot of walks. Second in the American League in walks drawn. Really sets the table for the rest of the guys that come up, in this case, after David Justice, even with 2 outs in the inning.
Travis Fryman, the game 1 hero among many for the Indians. He looks at a fast strike. Fryman limited to just 85 games this season. Hit .255 with 10 home runs and 48 runs batted in. Been playing with an injured knee. In fact, still has that brace on the right knee underneath his uniform. You can see it very well.
And it really limits his mobility down at third base. Not so much coming in on balls, but especially lateral movements, either toward the foul line or toward the hole between third and short.
Justice only 1 stolen base during the regular season. Good change up there by Martinez. And he's ahead 0-2.
He got the desired result. He got a swing and a miss from Travis Fryman, but that's not the location he wants to throw that changeup. That pitch was up around the belt. That changeup is much easier to identify and pick up and make an adjustment when it's up high in the strike zone.
And it's through the hole into left field. A base hit by Fryman on an 0-2 pitch. Justice advances on to second. So 2 on, 2 out for Sandy Alomar Jr.
Now Martinez off just a little bit with his control here. That ball tails back over the heart of the plate. You saw where catcher Jason Varitek was set up on the outside corner. Was reaching back toward the middle of the plate. It was too good of a pitch on an 0-2 count.
So now to be Sandy Alomar. He looks at ball 1 low and away. His season interrupted by left knee surgery that nearly erased 4 months off of his season. He originally hurt the knee blocking a wild pitch by Dave Burbaugh on May the 10th against Baltimore. Only appeared in 37 games during the regular season. Two on, 2 out, 1-0 pitch is fouled out of play. .46 career postseason games for Sandy Alomar Jr. 5 home runs, 27 batted in, and now Offerman will come in for a quick word with Martinez behind the mound.
Well, Offerman has been shading the right-handed hitters from the Cleveland Indians up the middle. He was up the middle for Travis Fryman. He's cheating up the middle a little bit here for Sandy Alomar. That's because of the changeup that Martinez throws. The hitters are going to be out in front. They're probably going to pull the ball to the left side of the field.
1-2 on Alomar. So now Martinez trying to escape damage here in the second inning. Cleveland with 2 on and 2 out. And it's a ball and 2 strikes on Sandy Alomar Jr. On the ground, that's a foul ball.
Veritek out to have another word with his pitcher. This is where it becomes tough for Ramon Martinez. If he's going to run into problems, it's going to be because he's basically a 2-pitch pitcher. 2 very good pitches, a tailing fastball and that nasty changeup. But when you get into a situation where a hitter's up there at the plate and he's seen both of those pitches, he's got a pretty good beat on both of those pitches. Martinez doesn't really have a third pitch that he has enough confidence to go to.
Again, the 1-2. Got him looking on the outside corner to end the inning. Third strikeout by Ramon Martinez. No score. Championship series set to go beginning Tuesday night in Atlanta. The Braves eliminate Houston 7-5, while the Mets eliminate Arizona 4-3 in 10 innings on a Todd Pratt home run. Later tonight, it'll be the Yankees at Texas, Game 3. Bob Costas, Joe Morgan on the call there. And then tomorrow, we'll either have the Yankees in Texas or Cleveland at Boston. Indians in front in this series 2-love, as is New York, as they go to Game 3 tonight in Arlington. Bottom of the second inning, no score. Mike Stanley to lead things off. First pitch swinging, slow roller at Vizquel. 1 away. The Red Sox have done next to nothing offensively in this series. Hitting 183, they have scored a total of 3 runs. You take away Stanley's 5 hits, Garciaparra's 2 and Offerman's 2. The rest of the team has a total of 2 hits and 41 at bats. An 0.49 average, and here's the man they're really leaning on today. Troy O'Leary, 1 for 7 in the series, 2 for 23 in his career during the postseason. He looks at a strike.
Well, throughout the regular season, Troy O'Leary was outstanding. He had himself a Boston Tea Party here. 42 doubles, 56 walks, 103 RBIs, and led the Red Sox with his 28 home runs. They need him to provide more of that offense here tonight and throughout the remainder of the postseason if they should advance. 6 games in the postseason, he has not had much luck.
2-1 pitch. On the ground to second. Tomey will have to hurry to get over there, and does so as Alomar throws out O'Leary. 2 up, 2 down. 5 up, 5 down for Dave Burba.
The younger brother Pedro watching the action today. Boy, a lot of people here in the Boston area very upset. Pedro Martinez came out of Game 1 with that strained back muscle. Was sitting on the bench for Game 2. Apparently, some people here in Boston felt he was enjoying himself a little too much, given the fact that he had to come out of Game 1 and given the fact that he is the ace of this Boston staff.
Lou Merloni takes outside. Merloni filling in for the injured Garciaparra. We asked Jimmy Williams, will Pedro Martinez be available to pitch Game 5 should there be one on Monday in Cleveland? Said, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Fly ball into center field, and Lofton's got it. 3 up, 3 down for Boston. We're back after this word from your local Fox station. No score at the end of 2 here at Fenway Park. We remind you right here on Fox, the American League Championship Series begins on Wednesday night. That'll be at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. And Bob Brentley, you'll be joining Tim McCarver and Joe Buck in the booth.
Looking forward to it. Should be an exciting ALCS. No matter who gets in there, you go to Yankee Stadium or Texas or Boston or Cleveland, all good baseball towns. The fans really get into the games. Should be a lot of fun.
You ever thought about running for office?
Well, only in 4 towns.
Top of the order for the Indians. Lofton trying to bunt his way aboard. He fouls it off. Lofton popped up to the second baseman, Offerman, leading off the ball game. The Yankees will have home field advantage regardless of who they meet in the League Championship Series should the Yankees get there. They still have one more win over Texas to officially advance. 1-1 to Lofton. See the numbers here at Fenway Park for Kenny Lofton. Solid. 2 balls and a strike. Bunts it in the air and foul into the stands. 2-2.
It's definitely been an Indian summer. Those 5 teammates each scored over 100 runs this season. First time in franchise history. They were busy. They had to replace that home plate at Jacobs Field quite often this year. A lot of spike punts.
The Indians have become in so many ways, Bobby, the model franchise in the American League. Great success on the field, off the field. And the fans just pour in night after night after night to Jacobs Field. Two and 2 to Lofton. And the count is full. They've won 5 consecutive Central Division titles. They have sold out 373 consecutive games. You get a look at John Hart, the general manager of the Indians. And there's strike 3 on the inside corner. 4 strikeouts by Martinez. He looks like little bro here today.
He's really painting the corners well here in the early going. You'll see this ball starts inside off the plate, tails back over the inside corner. Look at the concentration on Ramon Martinez's face. That comeback fastball just on the inside corner. 4 strikeouts in the game. His high this year in 4 starts was 5 against the Cleveland Indians back on the 14th of September. He only pitched 4 2/3 in that ball game.
Now Vizquel, who singled into right center field his first time up. There's a strike. 1-1 on Nomar Vizquel. Valentin tucked in on the grass at third base, and there's strike 2 on the inside corner. And now Valentin will back up with 2 strikes on Vizquel. Two pitch in the air, left field, routine for O'Leary, 2 away. Ramon Martinez at 31, 4 years the senior of Pedro Martinez. But Ramon has won 123 games in his career, Pedro 107. Now granted, Ramon has been around a few years longer than his younger brother. But we mentioned earlier, a lot of American League fans just now getting a first taste, if you will, of Ramon Martinez. But he has just been an outstanding pitcher for many years, coming up through the Dodger organization.
Well, can you imagine back in the Dominican Republic when those guys were growing up, some of the burnout games that they must have had? To try to knock your brother's glove off. Man. Because Ramon could rush it up there in the mid to high 90s as well. And, of course, little brother Pedro wouldn't want to be shown up, so they probably really had some nasty burnout games.
Of course, Pedro came up through the L.A. organization as well, was traded straight up to the Montreal Expos for Delino de Shields. Strike called to Robbie Alomar, 2-1. And many believe that Dan Duquette, the general manager of the Red Sox, signed Ramon Martinez just as a favor to Pedro. As it goes to 2-2. That's a pretty nice favor, especially now that you have Ramon healthy and throwing the ball well again. Solid sign by Dan Duquette. A guy who's come under so much fire here in Boston the last couple of seasons. But they've advanced to the postseason the last 2 years. Valentin's got it on the short hop. And a perfect third for Ramon Martinez. We move to the last of the third, still a scoreless game. of their Red Sox here in Boston. Fenway Park opened in 1912 with the first official game on April the 20th after they had been rained out the previous 2 days. The very first game that year against the New York Highlanders, and the Red Sox won it 7-6 in 11 innings. The story, of course, pushed off the front pages of the Boston newspapers by news of the Titanic sinking the day before. They're hoping that a Boston win will splash across the headlines tomorrow to keep this series alive another day. Pedro Martinez injured after 4 innings in game 1. Nomar Garciaparra not in the lineup for the Red Sox today, down 2 games to none. Boston in search of its first base runner as Jason Varitek takes inside ball 1. Varitek a solid year, 20 home runs, 76 knocked in. Hits that ball right at Manny Ramirez, 1 away.
Varitek was a teammate of Nomar Garciaparra at Georgia Tech. Feel like old times, although Nomar not in the lineup tonight.
Gonna say in old times, Garciaparra's in there with Varitek.
You see that wrist brace worn by Nomar Garciaparra came to the ballpark very early today, went through a exhausting series of treatments. Took some cuts in the batting cage from what we understand. Did not come out on the field to take ground balls, something that he does religiously on a daily basis. That was the first indication that there was probably no chance to see Garciaparra start this game today.
Darren Lewis, the center fielder, shows bunt, takes outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Seven up, 7 down by Dave Burba. And that fastball is high and outside, 2-1 to Lewis.
Darren Lewis very much an opposite field hitter. Stays inside the ball, at times to a fault. He's a very strong young man. He's got power to pull the ball to left field and hit home runs, especially here at Fenway Park. But is so disciplined, he just always thinking about hitting that ball to the opposite field.
See very good numbers for Darren Lewis, a teammate of Dave Burba, both with the Giants and the Reds. Hits the ball the other way. And Ramirez has it, 2 up, 2 down, and Burba has retired 8 in a row to begin the ball game. Bobby, you were a coach for the Giants when Dave Burba came over from Seattle to San Francisco, and this guy seems to get better and better every season.
Well, he's really matured. When he first came up with the Seattle Mariners, he was very much a power pitcher. In his days with the Giants, he was still a power pitcher. Fastball, slider, an occasional split finger. He has refined that split finger now to the point where he has a lot of confidence to throw it to any hitter. You can see what he did against left-handed batters this year. And he's come up with a straight changeup, as I mentioned earlier, that he has a lot of confidence in as well. He's no longer a power pitcher, although he can be in situations if he has to be.
Krotnick's a .270 hitter during the regular season. 15 home runs, 52 batted in, and he takes on the inside corner of strike. Burba ahead at 1 and 2. Nixon 1 for 5 in a series. He's doubled and walked. In the air, right center field. Lofton's got it. The 3rd straight perfect inning by Burba. We move to the 4th. Still no score. Pedro Martinez on the bench watching his brother Ramon face Manny Ramirez.
Let's get a look at a pitch-by-pitch at first at bat. Starts him with that tailing fastball for a strike. They pitched out with Roberto Alomar at first base. Tremendous straight changeup down low and away. And then another fastball right on the outside corner. Manny Ramirez now 0 for 8 in this series with 5 strikeouts.
He'll lead things off in the Cleveland 4th inning of a scoreless game. And it's high, ball 1. Well, he may be hitless in the series, but for this 27-year-old native of the Dominican Republic, it is hard to find a better offensive player in the major leagues than Manny Ramirez. Check out some of these numbers. including the 165 RBIs, the most in the majors since Jimmy Fox knocked in 175 runs back in 1938. And those 165 RBIs, the 12th best single season mark in Major League history.
More RBIs than his team has played games. That has not happened since back in 1949 when Ted Williams and Vern Stevens both did it for the Boston Red Sox.
3-0 pitch, and he swings away. High chopper. Fielded by Valentin. Nice play. Ramirez now 0 for 9 in the series.
Well, we talked about the Indians' third baseman Travis Fryman and that big brace on his right knee. John Valentin has been bothered with some knee problems as well. Patellar tendonitis has cut into some of his range at third base, but makes a nice play coming in on this ball. Smothered it on the short hop right there. Had to look in his glove to make sure he had it, but throws on the run over to Mike Stanley. Looks like this ball almost comes out of his glove right there. He had to look one more time to make sure it was in there.
Now Tomey, a missile into left center field, a base hit. Lewis over to cut it off, and Tomey, a big turn, will slam on the brakes with a one-out single. Nice play by Darren Lewis in left center.
Well, Darren Lewis can go get him in center field, no question about that. At a 392-game consecutive errorless streak. Tomey, you see, lining that ball down and away from him into the gap in left center field. Lewis gets to it quickly. He does not have a particularly strong arm, a very accurate arm, but here at Fenway, ball's hit to the left center field. That fence is not far away. Doesn't take much of a throw to get that ball back into second base.
Harold Baines drives one into right center field. It falls in for a hit. Tomey advancing on first to third, and here come the Indians. Runners on the corners with one out in the fourth.
Boy, Harold Baines has just been a hitting machine throughout his career. No reason to stop now just because he's 40 years old. Fastball down on the inside part of the plate. He golfs it into that gap in right center field. Not a lot of speed on the bases here for the Indians.
Number 23, the left fielder, David Justice.
David Justice drew a walk his first time up. Tomey at third, Baines at first. The first serious threat of the ball game by either team. Martinez delivers, and it's outside and high to Justice for ball one.
Now, Martinez would like to put something on that outside corner down around the knees if possible, whether it be a fastball or a changeup. Something that Dave Justice would roll over and hit a ground ball somewhere to his infield.
2-0. Travis Fryman would be next, and now Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach of the Red Sox, out to visit with Ramon Martinez.
Justice is grounded into 14 double plays on the year, second only to Richie Sexton, who grounded into 19. Justice at one time was a very good runner, still is a very good base runner, just doesn't have that explosive speed out of the batter's box that you'd like to see out of some of your players. And the Indians have some players that can explode out of that box, but Dave Justice is not one of them.
They got a lot of players that can do a lot of things. This is some kind of Cleveland Indians team. Runners on the corners, and a 2-0 to Justice. Is ball 3 high.
Martinez up to 61 pitches here in the ball game. We mentioned he's been in the mid-90s in 3 of his starts since coming back off the disabled list.
3-0. High pop fly into center field. Lewis readies himself, and the throw will come and be cut off by Stanley. Scoring from third is Tomey, and Justice knocks in the first run of the game. It's 1-0 Indians.
It's no surprise Mike Hargrove turning David Justice loose on the 3-0 count. I think almost every hitter in this Indians lineup has the green light 3-0. That time Justice got a pitch up in the zone, was able to lift that fly ball deep enough into center field for even the slow-footed Jim Tomey to score.
2 down, Baines at first, a run home, and now it's Travis Fryman who's singled into left field his first time up. Good changeup by Martinez for strike 1. So the Indians leading 1-0. Already up 2 games to none in this best-of-5 American League Division Series. A victory away from yet again advancing to the ALCS. Smoked, foul.
Ball pulled just foul down the third base line. This is what we were talking about earlier in the ball game. That ball that hits that wall and caroms back onto the field. That one went a little deeper into left field because of the angle. You know, you took geometry in high school. Angle of incidence, angle of reflection.
Don't remember a word, didn't know any of it then. 0-2 outside. So you're telling me you remember that from your days as a teenager growing up in Coshocton, Ohio?
Well, you've got to remember I have a teenager at home now that I have to help with geometry, so it came back to me rather quickly.
Not get carried away.
And I still got a D.
I understand. 1-2 to Fryman. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. 5 strikeouts by Martinez. But in the middle of the fourth, the Red Sox trail 1-0. Myers, Jackie Slater, Chris Spielman, and the amazing Marv Levy, who has gone an incredible 11-1 with his picks this season. Plus features and news from around the league. Don't miss the NFL this morning on your regional Fox Sports Net affiliate. 1 hour before the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. Well, Marv Levy may be 11-1. Bob Brenly is perfect over the last 3 years picking NFL games. I don't know if we'll have time for you to give a quick rundown on tomorrow's schedule or not.
No. Baseball, baseball, baseball. Stick to the game right here. I don't want to step on Marv Levy for crying out loud.
No. Boston trying to find some offense. They have gone down in order in 15 of the 21 innings they've played thus far. 1, 2, 3. Top of the order, Offerman, Valentin, Husky. And it's strike 1 on Offerman, who bounced out to Robbie Alomar, leading off the Red Sox first inning.
Boy, going down in order like that, Tom, 1, 2, 3. I mean, you don't even force that opposing pitcher to go into a stretch. There's just no pressure on the defense, no pressure on that pitcher out there on the mound. And there's pressure right there. Nomar Garciaparra in the lineup will put pressure on you even if nobody's on base.
Well, he had a couple of hits in game 1. Hitless in game 2. I believe that game. Bothered more and more by that injured wrist, and he sits and watches his teammates in game 3 today. Strike called off from, and he didn't like the call by Tim Welke. 2-2. You know, Bobby, some may say, because it's been a common practice in baseball, football, basketball, any major sport, why not just shoot it up with cortisone and get out there? I mean, it sounds almost barbaric, but that is a fact of the game and has been for a long time. But when you're talking about the right hand, that right wrist, there are further implications involved as Offerman gets aboard.
Well, you're absolutely right, Tom. That wrist area, so many small tendons and ligaments and muscles to be concerned with. That's what the Red Sox are doing without in the ball game here tonight. Major offense. And also the fact that he would lose some of the sensation of feeling in that right hand by taking an injection. Obviously, playing shortstop, he's going to handle the ball many times through the course of the game. A possibility of a bad throw, not being able to get a good grip on the ball. I mean, I'm sure if there was any way at all Nomar Garciaparra could have gotten in that starting lineup tonight, he would be in there.
Well, the Red Sox have some hope. Leadoff man aboard, their first base runner of the game against Dave Burba, who pitches from the stretch for the first time as John Valentin settles in. We mentioned Offerman, 18 stolen bases during the regular season. 5 of them came against Cleveland. Strike one as Valentin shows bunt.
And we asked Jimmy Williams about this before the ball game as far as sacrifice bunts or hitting and running, and he said it depended on the personnel and the game situation. But he didn't have any strict and fast rules. He said we may bunt in the first inning, we may hit and run in the 8th inning. It just depends on the pitcher-batter matchup, who the runner is on base, and of course the score of the ball game.
Right now Boston's down 1-0 last to the 4th inning. No sign of a bunt that time. It's 1-1 on Valentin.
And I don't believe the Indians are convinced that the Red Sox are going to bunt in this situation. Travis Fryman remains behind the bag down at third base.
Valentin 0 for 9 in the series. 1-1 pitch. Fastball away, 2 balls and a strike. Two outstanding managers. Jimmy Williams with the Red Sox and Mike Hargrove. Very much underrated as skipper of this Indians team. Offerman running, and a fly ball in a straightaway center field, hit pretty well. Lofton races back, makes a grab against the wall, and now hurrying back to first is Offerman as Lofton's throw is way offline from in front of the wall.
Boy, half of a great play right there by Kenny Lofton. The half was the great catch, running all the way back to the wall in straightaway center field to snag that fly ball. You see Offerman on the move with the pitch. Lofton going back to the wall, makes the catch, bounces off the wall. At that point, tries to throw it all the way to first base in the air. There's a reason they put cutoff men out there. If he hits either one of the cutoff men with this throw back to the infield, there's a pretty good chance they double Offerman at first base. Offerman around the bag, has to retouch second base on his way back. And the throw way wide. Offerman was. If Lofton makes a good strong throw into either Vizquel or Alomar, both men were out there in cutoff position. The relay throw to first would have been in plenty of time to get Offerman for the double play.
Now Butch Husky. He popped up to Robbie Alomar, ending the first inning. Hitless in 4 at-bats in the series. Ball 1 outside and low. Jam shot, pop-up, shallow right. This could fall, and it will. So a bloop single to right field by Husky. And a tying run is now in scoring position for the Red Sox.
Yeah, the Red Sox putting a little pressure on Dave Burba and the Cleveland defense right here. Butch Husky, big, strong man at the plate, got jammed badly by Dave Burba, and he's able to fight that ball off into shallow right field. Burba missed all the way across the plate that time, was trying to go down and away. The pitch sailed up and in, and you can see Manny Ramirez playing very deep in right field, was late getting to that ball, no chance to make a catch.
And now Boston's best hitter thus far in this series settles in. Mike Stanley, he takes outside ball 1. Stanley grounded to Vizquel leading off the second inning. 5 of 8 in the series with a double and a run batted in for the 36-year-old native of Fort Lauderdale.
Mike Stanley, a dead fastball hitter, loves the ball down low around the knees and usually pulls the ball on the ground. He will go to the opposite field with balls hit in the air, but it's a lot of balls on the ground to the left side. You can jam him inside, but you better make sure to get it in there. He can pull these pitches there in the middle part of the plate to the left side of the infield. But as I mentioned, ball's hitting the air. He's got a lot of power to right center and right field.
Activity for the first time today in the Cleveland bullpen, as Boston has 2 on with only 1 out, trailing 1-0 in the 4th. An excuse me swing and a foul ball out of play. It's 1-2. Jarrett Wright begins to throw for the Indians.
Now, this is generally the situation that Dave Burba will go to that split finger fastball. Pitch down low in the strike zone that's moving down. Try to get Mike Stanley to hit the top part of the ball and hit a grounder somewhere to one of his infielders.
One-two to Stanley. Missed outside, even a count.
But Burba came off the mound very funny after releasing that pitch. Tumbled off the mound to the first base side, taking a little bit of time to regroup out there. He's had some problems with that right forearm in the past. That's why he doesn't throw as many breaking balls now as he did at one point in his career.
Offerman at second base, Husky at first. And a roller up the third base line is foul. Burba made sure he raced over. Some may be saying, what in the world's he doing? He had to touch that ball, because if it made a right turn and came back into fair ground before getting back to the bag, it would be a fair ball.
Now, the ball has to be touched in foul territory before it becomes a foul ball. Burba recognizes that fact, hustling over there off the mound, kind of lost his footing a little bit. You see him cranking that right arm around there. I think he may have injured himself on the pitch before to Mike Stanley when I mentioned he fell off the mound kind of funny, taking a long time between pitches here.
See what Stanley did during the regular season against Cleveland pitching. 2-2. On the ground, back to Burba. He goes to second for 1. Alomar's throw in time, and that's a double play to end the inning. The Red Sox leave a man at the end of 4. They trail 1-0.
Nothing lead as we go to the top of the 5th inning. Jarrett Wright continues to throw in that Indians bullpen. Watch Dave Burba after releasing this pitch to Mike Stanley. Comes off the mound. He's obviously in some discomfort right there. He starts cranking the right arm around. Came off the mound back to the third base dugout here, very upset. And as I mentioned, Jarrett Wright continuing to throw in the Indians bullpen perhaps would indicate that Burba's afternoon is finished.
Well, that could be a huge story for the Cleveland Indians. Not only today, Burba firing a 1-hit shutout, but should they win this series and advance on to the league championship series, that's a 15-game winner. And again, all speculation right now, but you've known Dave Burba a long time. That's not much like him to get that upset unless something is wrong.
He's a big, strong horse of a man and will very rarely show any kind of emotion like that. But it was very obvious after delivering that pitch to home plate and falling off the mound to the first base side. Throughout the remainder of the inning, he kept moving his right arm around, moving his right elbow around. Not sure exactly what the problem might be, but it was obvious Burba was very upset after the inning.
Ground ball playable for Valentin. Picks it up along the line and throws out Alomar, who doesn't even make it all the way to first base, limping badly on that injured left knee.
Kind of a little swinging bunt down the third base line by Sandy Alomar. And as you mentioned, Tom, really slow getting out of the batter's box. Well, that's why he slipped.
Number 7.
Valentin came in, made a nice scoop and throw on the move, and plenty of time to get Alomar at first base.
Well, you got to admire Sandy Alomar Jr. You know that left knee is hurting and hurting and hurting, and yet he's in there.
6 knee surgeries on that left knee. They've been using a kind of a lubricant, giving him injections into that knee joint to try to free it up a little bit, give him a little more range of motion. Of course, wearing the big knee brace as well. But he's a very important part of this Cleveland Indians ball club, and he wants to be behind the plate if there's any way he can get back there.
Many will tell you he is the heart and the soul of this Indians team. 1-1 to Kenny Lofton, 0 for 2 in the game. He's popped to second and struck out. Solid outing thus far by Ramon Martinez. Giving up 1 run on 4 base hits through the first 4 and a third innings, and there's strike 2 to Lofton.
You can see from the radar gun readings on Martinez fastball, he's consistently 87, 88, 89, as opposed to his early days with the Dodgers when he was consistently 95, 96, 97. That time he hit 90 with a fastball, but his control seems to be much better. In his days with the Dodgers, he was just kind of a rare back and throw the fastball for the middle of the catcher's mitt kind of a pitcher. He's trying to paint the corners a little bit, using that comeback sinker on both sides of the plate.
Did Lofton go? Yes, sir, on the appeal to Durwood Merrill. 6 strikeouts, a season high for Ramon Martinez. We mentioned earlier, he has struck out as many as 18 batters in a game, going back to June of '90 against Atlanta.
But with 2 strikes, you have to be defensive as a hitter. See that ball tailing off the plate. Kenny Lofton can't believe that he was called on the check swing right there, shaking his head no as he's swinging the bat. It's just a good tailing fastball on the outside part of the plate.
That one hit down the right field line a ton. Is it fair? Is it foul? It's a foul ball, says Chuck Merriweather. That ball hammered by Vizquel. Now the 0-1. Missed inside, even a count. One pitch, and it's outside of Vizquel with 2 down and nobody on here in the Cleveland 5th inning. The Indians in front 1-0 in 2 games to none in this best-of-5 American League Division Series. On the ground at Merloni. Throws in the dirt, picked out of there by Stanley to retire the side. Jarrett Wright will enter the game for Cleveland. 1-0 try.
Fox is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. By KFC, home of the new tender roast sandwich. At KFC, we do chicken right, in a bucket and now on a bun. And by the remarkable power of Duracell Ultra. More power, more life.
We're back in Boston, 1-0. Cleveland in front as we go to the last of the 5th. And now taking over for Dave Burba, the 23-year-old right-hander Jarrett Wright. Strike 1 to Troy O'Leary.
See the numbers on Jarrett Wright this season. ERA of over 6. Gave up more than a hit per inning pitch. His strikeout total way down. His walk total up.
Line drive right back to the mound. It ricochets over to Fryman. And the throw is in time to retire O'Leary.
We have a pitcher that has to leave the game because of an injury, and the first batter the new pitcher faces gets smoked with a ball back through the pitcher's mound. Looked like it hit him right on the left shin, and fortunately for the Indians, carry him directly to Travis Fryman over there at third base. Ouch.
Number 26.
Fryman staying with it. The throw to first base, a very close play, but O'Leary out by a half a step at first.
Jarrett Wright in 1997, terrific during the postseason for the Indians. As there's strike 1 on the outside corner to Merloni, went 3-0 in 5 playoff starts. At 21 years and 9 months, became the youngest pitcher in Division Series history. As there is one, a bouncer to the right side, and it's by the diving Alomar into right field. A base hit by Merloni, filling in for Garcia Parra. Wright went 2-0 in 97 in Division Series play in his 2 starts against the Yankees. He started and won Game 4 of the World Series against the Marlins.
A high bouncing ball to the right side. Jim Thome, the first baseman, has been spoiled by Roberto Alomar's range. Thome gave up on that ball very early. It looked like he perhaps could have gotten to it. But Robbie Alomar catches almost every ball hit to the right side of the field, so it's certainly understandable that Thome immediately broke for the bag rather than go for the ball.
It's the first game this season that Jarrett Wright has pitched out of the bullpen. He made 26 starts during the season. 1-0 on Jason Varitek, who lined out to Manny Ramirez his first time up. Two 2-0.
See Jarrett Wright consistently in the mid-90s with that four-seam fastball. He's added a two-seamer this year that has a little bit of a sinking action. Not a lot of movement, but just enough off-speed and just enough movement. If he keeps that pitch on the outside part of the plate to Varitek, good chance he'll get a ground ball.
3 balls and no strikes. This is only the second career appearance out of the bullpen for Jarrett Wright. The other came last year for Cleveland during the league championship series, when he went 6 innings out of the bullpen. Strike called. It's 3-1 on Varitek. That ball hit hard in a deep left field, and it is off the monster and left. Advancing on to third, Merlone sliding safe at second with a double as Varitek, and the Red Sox in business.
Well, we talk about the monster being an inviting target for right-handed pull hitters. It's also an inviting target for left-handers who are willing to go the opposite way with the ball. See the pitch here from Jarrett Wright, a fastball up and out over the plate. Varitek just stays with it. Justice tried to initially decoy the runner at first base, but Merlone would have nothing to do with it. He's seen enough balls hit off that monster. He was off and running and made it to third base easy. Justice wisely threw into second, trying to get the hitter/runner Varitek going into second base, but that throw was not in time.
Wright has been hit and hit hard this season by the Red Sox. In 8 2/3 innings, he's given up 7 hits with an ERA of 8.31. Strike called to Darren Lewis, who flied to right his first time up. Runners at second and third, and only 1 out here in the Boston 5th inning, trailing 1-0. Now right ahead of Lewis at 0-2, and Wright very much a strikeout pitcher, and he needs one right here.
Well, with his infield playing back all the way around, any kind of a ground ball to the infield, anywhere other than back to the pitcher's mound, Merlone will be able to score easily from third base. Jarrett Wright desperately needs a strikeout right here.
Oh, 2 pitch. Fastball high. Talked about Wright and that 8.31 ERA against the Red Sox. Those are numbers here at Fenway Park. And in his career, an earned run average over 6 here in Boston. 1-2 pitch. Smothered nicely by Alomar. Count even at Darren Lewis at 2-2. Two pitch. Ball it off and fouls it out of play to stay alive. Obviously, Bobby, the Red Sox and all their offensive problems during this series, a critical moment in the game, despite it only being the 5th inning.
Well, they've had very few opportunities to score runs in the first 2 games of this series. With 1 out here in the inning, a chance to break through and perhaps even take a lead over the Indians.
Runners at second and third, 1 away, and a 2-2 to Lewis. Is 3-2. So Wright jumped ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. And Lewis has now worked the count full with Trot Nixon waiting in the on-deck circle.
good chance Lewis is going to get a fastball right here, make it be a strike.
Fisted into shallow right center. It falls for a base hit. Merloni scores. Lewis has tied the game.
Great two-strike hitting right there by Darren Lewis, running the count back into his favor. Got the fastball he was looking for. Didn't hit it particularly hard. Got jammed, but was able to fist it out there into shallow right center field, just over the glove of a leaping Roberto Alomar at second base. See, he missed his location all the way across the plate. They were trying to go down and away. I talked about Lewis and that inside-out swing in his first at-bat of the ball game. Fights it off into right field for a base hit.
Now to go ahead run at third. One out in the inning, and Nixon, who's 1 for 2 in his career against Jarrett Wright, takes ball 1 high. Wright on in relief of the injured Dave Berman. The Red Sox have broken through to tie the game, and now a chance to take the lead. Runner goes. High fly ball down the right field line. This will be plenty enough to bring in the run from third. And the Boston Red Sox have taken the lead at 2-1 on a sac fly by Nixon.
Now, with Dave Berman in the game, he was very much a ground ball pitcher. Talked about the sinking fastball, the split finger, the changeup. Pitches down in the zone. Jarrett Wright, however, throwing that four-seam fastball up high in the zone. Back-to-back Red Sox hitters able to get the ball in the air to the outfield to drive home runs.
Now Offerman with Lewis at first base. And that one hit. Diving play by Thome at the bag, and that'll end the inning. What a play by Thome at first. But the Red Sox score twice and lead by a run.
Series on Fox is brought to you by Volvo. Volvo for life.
Beautiful New England sunset, and Darren Lewis coming up with a big base hit to tie the game. The Red Sox have taken the lead 2-1. It could have been worse had it not been for Jim Thome.
Yeah, Darren Lewis, one of the faster runners on the Red Sox, on base at first. You see Thome shuffles off the bag. He's able to dive back and make a great defensive play. With Darren Lewis's speed and where that ball was headed off the bat of Jose Offerman, pretty good chance the Red Sox may have added another run to their lead.
So now the high-octane Cleveland offense against Ramon Martinez, who has been outstanding through the first 5 innings. He's allowed 1 run, only 4 hits. And Alomar swings and fouls it off to even the count at 1-1. Alomar has bounced into a fielder's choice and grounded to third. He's 0 for 2.
Yeah, Roberto Alomar fouled that ball off of home plate umpire Tim Welke. Here to catch him on the right leg somewhere. Everybody taking a little extra time. Let's take a look at Roberto Alomar's hit zone. A very good high ball hitter from the left side of the plate. See, Robbie Alomar is just a good hitter. Tough to find a weakness in his game offensively.
That ball hit hard into left center field, and it's off the wall. Alomar coming into second base, and here comes the throw. It's not in time. So just like that, Cleveland with a tying run in scoring position and nobody out in the 6th.
Get a look at Robbie Alomar coming out of the box. Turns it on just enough to get in ahead of that throw from Darren Lewis. Lewis played that ball expertly off the wall out there in left center. One carom right into his glove. Strong throw on the money to second base. There are no sure doubles to left field in Fenway Park. Get a look at Lewis playing that carom off the wall. Of course, he's done this many, many times in pregame warm-ups. Mentioned does not have a strong arm, but an accurate arm. That time throw on the third base side of the bag. On the first base side, it might have been a much closer play.
Now it's Manny Ramirez. 0 for 9 in the series, 165 runs batted in during the regular season. He hit .448 this year with runners in scoring position. See numbers like that, it's not hard to figure out why he knocked in so many runs.
And most of the time when Manny Ramirez made his way into that batter's box, there were runners in scoring position.
Swing and a foul ball back out of play. And it's 0-1 on Manny Ramirez. Derek Lowe beginning to get loose. Interesting way he cranks it up in a hurry.
He's got 2 baseballs. You just saw him give one to the bullpen coach down there. He starts with a ball in his glove, a ball in his hand, so he can throw more pitches in a shorter amount of time. It's murder on the catcher, but it's a good idea by Derek Lowe to get that ball unloaded quickly for the first 10 or 12 throws until he's ready to go back to 1 ball and concentrate on his stuff.
Martinez has jumped ahead of Manny Ramirez at 0 balls and 2 strikes. Should there be a game 4, Jimmy Williams told us it would be Kent Merker starting for Boston. The Indians will come back with Bartolo Colon. Game 5, they're hoping to have Pedro back, but Jimmy wouldn't even talk about game 5. He said, we need 1 win right now. 1-2 on Ramirez.
Yeah, Jimmy Williams said every day is a 1-game playoff. We'll worry about tomorrow when it comes.
Yeah, he said, I'll leave you my home phone number to tell you who's pitching tomorrow. Just let me get there. 1-2 to Ramirez. Just off the outside corner.
That looked like the slider that time for Martinez. He hasn't used it to the best of our knowledge throughout the early part of this ball game.
Well, we understand Dave Burba had to leave because of tightness under the right forearm area. We will further examine him, and we'll let you know as soon as we hear. On the ground, making the play is Stanley, but boy, for a guy who knocked in 165 runs, give Manny Ramirez some credit there. A pitch he knew he wasn't going to drive, but it's good enough to advance Alomar down to third base. 1 away.
Manny Ramirez just protecting the plate with the 2-strike count, sticks his bat out there and grounds the ball right down the first baseline. Look how far out there Veritek is. That ball's about a foot off the outside corner. Boy, talk about plate coverage. Ramirez able to advance Alomar over to third base with 1 out in the inning for a fly ball hitter, Jim Thome. And we mentioned the Indians led the American League in sacrifice flies this year.
And now it's Thome. There you see those numbers, both sacrifices and sac flies. Infield drawn in for the Red Sox. Valentin, Merloni, Offerman, and Stanley. Boston in front 2-1 here in the 6th with Alomar at third, and it's ball 1 to Thome. On the inside corner, called strike. Indians jumped in front 1-0 in the 4th. Boston took the lead with a pair against Jared Wright in the 5th. And now a tying run at third for the Tribe. 2-1 on Thome. Thome a .277 hitter overall this season, but with runners in scoring position hit .331, and we told you earlier 14 career postseason home runs. 2-1 pitch. Just off the outside corner.
Ramon Martinez obviously pitching Thome very carefully right here, but it's that old out of the frying pan and into the fire syndrome. If you're thinking about walking Thome, Harold Baines coming up behind him. There's just no break in this Indians lineup.
Alomar up the line, a tying run at third. 3-1. is ball 4 outside, so Thome takes the walk. Second of the game issued by Ramon Martinez. And now Joe Kerrigan will come out for a visit. Derek Lowe has been ready for quite some time in that Boston bullpen.
Well, Jim Thome, throughout the course of the regular season, struck out in 33% of his at-bats. He hit ground balls in 26%, fly balls in 41%. He's a guy that can lift the ball into the air to the outfield to drive home that run.
And we brought up earlier, he's the first American leaguer to lead the league in both walks and strikeouts since the Hall of Famer and the late great Mickey Mantle in 1958.
Contrary to Jim Thome, Harold Baines, the hitter at the plate right now, hit ground balls in 41% of his at-bats. So the Red Sox looking for one of those ground balls right now and hope to turn an inning-ending double play.
Harold Baines.
They will stay with Ramon Martinez. Runners at first and third, one out in the Cleveland 6. Baines is popped to right, single to right center. Ball 1 outside.
Harold Baines was a born designated hitter. First in games, hits, home runs, and RBIs. Just a professional batsman up there.
1-0 delivery. Goes to 2 balls and no strikes. David Justice waits in the on-deck circle. Cleveland trailing by a run. Runners on the corners. One out here in the 6th inning. The 2-0 to Baines. Outside again, 3 balls and no strikes. 94th pitch of the game by Ramon Martinez.
We mentioned he'd been into the 90s in his pitch count in 3 of his 4 starts since coming back from the disabled list. They said they'd like to get him up around 100 pitches. Starting to lose that strike zone here.
Good pitch there on the outside corner. 3-1. Martinez, a pause in a 3-1 pitch on the ground, down to first. Stanley to second. They get one relay throw, and it gets away from Martinez. And Alomar scores a tying run. We're even at 2. The throw rolled into the dugout, and so Baines will be awarded second base.
Boy, very tough double play to turn. Mike Stanley playing behind Jim Thome over there at first base. It took him a while to get his body in position to throw that ball to second. Makes the play cleanly, spins around, makes the good strong throw right there to Merlone. Merlone's relay throw to a moving target. Ramon Martinez getting over to the bag to cover. And it gets away on into the Red Sox dugout, and Baines is allowed to advance to second. Boy, talk about a neighborhood play. Merlone straddling the bag at second base. See Thome coming in there hard. Hits Merlone late, but I don't think that really affected the relay throw to first base.
Well, now Justice will be intentionally walked, which will bring up the right-handed batting Travis Fryman. So the Indians give up a 1-0 lead in the Boston 5th inning, and here in the 6th, the leadoff double by Alomar, and he ties the game at 2.
If Mike Stanley had been holding Jim Thome on first base, there's a considerably better chance that the Red Sox would have been able to turn that double play. He was playing well behind the runner at first base, and that extra split second it took for the ball to get there made the difference in that double play.
Well, that's going to be it for Ramon Martinez. Derek Lowe will come in from the bullpen, and this Fenway crowd most appreciative of the effort given today by the Boston right-hander. His brother, of course, his biggest fan. He goes 5 2/3 innings, strikes out 6, allows 2 runs so far. But he'll give way with 2 on in the Cleveland 6th of a 2-2 game to Derek Lowe.
Get a look at Lowe's numbers on the season. He came in game 1 in relief of Pedro Martinez, pitched 4 strong innings, gave up only 1 base hit, a home run by Jim Thome.
Los surrendered the loss in that game in relief of Pedro Martinez, but retired 12 of the 15 he faced. He threw the ball so well at Jacobs Field.
Oh, he's got a power sinker, very much a ground ball pitcher. See what Travis Fryman has done against Lowe in his career, very little.
Baines a go-ahead run at second, Justice on at first, and a one-hopper at Valentin. The force play will end the inning. The Indians tie the game, and after 5 1/2, it's a 2-2 affair. We'll take a look at Randy Moss's big game last week. Was it his breakthrough game of the season, or has the league finally figured out how to contain him? Find out, all part of Fox NFL Sunday, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Fox. Tom Brenneman, Bob Brenly, our entire Fox crew at Fenway Park in Boston. Game 3 in this American League Division Series, and a 2-2 ball game as Boston bats last of the 6th inning against Jarrett Wright. Nomar Garcia-Parra unable to go today due to the injured wrist, but the Red Sox are hanging in there. And Wright gave up both runs in relief of Dave Burba, who had to leave at the end of 4 innings with tightness under the right forearm. Valentin puts a charge into one, straight away center field. Lofton looks up, Boston leads. Hit of the series by Valentin. In his 11th at bat, and what a big one it was.
We've heard it said many times in the major leagues, if you pitch from behind and have to challenge with a fastball, it doesn't matter how hard you throw it. Jarrett Wright, 95 miles an hour, down low and out over the plate. John Valentin golfs it out of here to straightaway center field. Got the Red Sox fans on their feet here.
Brian Daubach will now be announced as the pinch hitter for the DH Bush Husky. It's easy for me to say. Ball one high and away.
Boy, great extension on that swing by John Valentin. That ball just jumped off his bat. Kenny Lofton took a couple of steps and then just turned and watched the ball sail into that batter's eye out in center field. The black background over the bleachers in straightaway center.
12 home runs during the regular season for Valentin. His second career postseason home run gives Boston a 1-run lead in the 6th. And now Daubach hitting for Husky. It's 1-2. What a year for Daubach. Hit .294, 21 homers, 73 batted in. You saw Sean DePaula and Ricardo Rincon getting loose in the Cleveland bullpen. Jarrett Wright, no two ways about it, has been a huge disappointment for the Indians in 1999.
Well, he did spend a couple of stints on the disabled list, but even before the injury sent him to the DL, was not having a good year.
Hit down the left field line, and it's into the seats.
Second half of the season, he was 1-5 with an ERA of just under 6. He lost 3 of his last 4 decisions and got hammered pretty good in all 3 of the losses. Gave up 6 runs and 7 hits to the Blue Jays in his last outing of the regular season. Pitched only 2 1/3 innings in that ball game.
Two on Daubach. Good cut right there and fouled it back out of play. Valentin, you may remember, it hit that ball very hard to straightaway center field off Burba back in the 4th inning. Lofton caught it up against the wall. And then he juices one out of here to begin the 6th inning as it goes to 3-2 on Daubach. Earlier today, you saw the numbers there. The National League Championship Series is set. Atlanta and the Mets. Who will go to the ALCS? Indians a 2-0 advantage in this series, but Boston a 1-run lead. Struck him out. First strikeout by Jarrett Wright. One away in the Boston 6th inning.
No, Wright still throwing very hard, but struggling with his command. Daubach, a good low ball hitter. Chases a pitch up around the belt, out over the plate. Yeah, Jarrett Wright in this early stage of his career still doesn't have the kind of confidence in his off-speed pitches that he needs to be successful at the major league level. You cannot continue to challenge major league hitters with a fastball, especially when you're behind in the count.
Mike Stanley down a strike. He's grounded to short and bounced into the double play to end the 4th inning. Terrific numbers in his career against Wright.
Good breaking ball that time from Jarrett Wright. That's a pitch he's going to have to prove to the Boston Red Sox he can throw over the plate. Mentioned it earlier, Mike Stanley, a dead fastball hitter.
0-2 pitch. On the ground. Vizquel to his left. 2 away.
Number 25, the left fielder, Troy O'Leary.
Troy O'Leary, 2 of his 4 hits against Wright have been home runs. Big swing and a miss on a home run cut there. O'Leary 1 for 9 in the series. He hit a bullet off of Wright that went right at Travis Fryman for an out in the 5th. So now the 2nd time through the batting order for the Cleveland right-hander, who's given up all 3 Boston runs on 4 base hits. 2-1.
And O'Leary can handle a high fastball. We saw him swing through one to start this sequence, but throughout the course of the regular season, he hammered high fastballs around the American League.
Off the end of the bat, fly ball into right field, and Ramirez is there to retire the side, but not before Valentin plays long ball. A 1-run Boston lead. Back after this from your local Fox station.
If you could...
Valentin, the go-ahead home run off of Jarrett Wright in the 6th inning. The big story here, Dave Burba having to leave at the end of 4 strong innings.
Had only given up 1 base hit. He delivered a pitch to Mike Stanley, came off the mound in obvious discomfort. Had to come out of the ball game. Very upset. Dave Burba, I mentioned, he's been a workhorse for this Indian staff this year. Pitched at least 5 innings in 32 of his 34 starts on the season. See the comparison there. Since Burba's left the ball game, Jarrett Wright has come in, pitched 2 innings, given up 4 hits and 3 runs.
Derek Lowe, meanwhile, is on relief of a highly effective Ramon Martinez, who allowed 2 runs, struck out 6, only 5 hits in 5 2/3. Lowe retired Travis Fryman, leaving 2 on in the Cleveland 6th inning. And that one at the first baseman, Stanley. Alomar retired 1 away in the Indians 7th.
Boy, when Derek Lowe is throwing well, you'll see a lot of very weakly hit balls off the bat of right-handed hitters. That sinker just bears in and dives in on the hands of the right-handers. You very rarely get the good part of the bat on the ball. A lot of broken bats, a lot of weak grounders, a lot of weak pop-ups.
Kenny Lofton looks at a strike. Well, again, you talk about Dan Duquette, who's come under so much fire here in Boston. Roger Clemens got away. Mike Greenwell got away going back a couple of years ago, of course, and then last season, Mo Vaughn leaving Boston, signing with Anaheim. But Lowe, along with Veritek, another outstanding trade made by Dan Duquette. They swapped Heathcliff Slocum back on July the 31st of '97 to bring on Lowe and Veritek. The battery for Boston here in Game 3 of this division series.
And both those players figure to be major contributors for quite some time for the Boston Red Sox.
Lofton slaps it into left field, a base hit. He's aboard for the first time in 4 trips. He represents the tying run.
Number 13.
Kenny Lofton, with his speed and his ability to bunt, always has to draw that third baseman in and then look for a pitch away and try to slap it past the third baseman. This time Lofton gets it over the head of John Valentin at third base and on into left field.
Lofton 25 stolen bases during the regular season.
This is one of the combinations that Mike Hargrove said that he'd like to play hit and run with. Vizquel, a very good contact hitter at the plate. Lowe figures to get a ground ball with that nasty sinker. Lofton has not been running as much this year. Been bothered by that injured right hamstring. Lofton missed 42 games this year with that right hamstring injury.
Little roller up the first base line. Lowe's got it, and he'll flip on to Stanley for the second out of the inning. Lofton in the scoring position.
Just so hard to get the ball in the air against Derek Lowe when he throws that sinker ball. He also has a curve, a slider, and a straight change, but he very rarely uses anything but that turbo sinker.
Well, obviously, Boston would not even consider, or it certainly would be a shocking case, by putting the potential go-ahead run on base. But the way the guys are going right now, and again, pick your poison, but Alomar has been the consummate big-game performer. And he's coming up right now. Meanwhile, the man behind him, Ramirez, who knocked in 165 runs, is hitless in the series.
Well, you'd have some major questions to answer if you did walk Alomar intentionally to get to the Major League's RBI leader with a runner in scoring position. But you know, many times it's not what you did during the regular season. What are you doing right now? And Manny Ramirez is not swinging the bat well right now.
Well, there is no way they're going to intentionally walk Alomar. I'm sure they'll be oh so careful with him as it's taken high and outside for ball 1. Alomar 1 for 3. He doubled and scored the tying run back in the 6th inning before Boston took the lead in the bottom half of that frame. They work away again. 2 balls and no strikes. Alomar in his career 3 for 9 against Derek Lowe. Runner goes to third and no problem. So Lofton steals third with 2 away. 90 feet away from tying the game.
Derek Lowe not paying much attention to the runner at second base. You can see the jump that Lofton gets. He's off and moving before Lowe even lifts his leg. Now Alomar tries to bunt the ball down the third base line, bunting for a base hit.
On a 3-0 pitch.
Wow. I guess that's the element of surprise right there.
The ultimate element of surprise.
Ooh. Well, once again, that'll force Valentin to come in a couple of steps.
And there's ball 4 on Roberto Alomar. So the stage is set for Manny Ramirez.
Now, we may see Derek Lowe go to some of his other pitches in his arsenal here to Manny Ramirez. Ramirez, a very good low fastball hitter. And that sinker from Derek Lowe, if he aims it at the middle of the plate, figures to end up in this zone down and in. Lowe is either going to have to make a conscious effort to work the outside part of the plate, or as I mentioned, perhaps go to some of his other pitches.
Manny Ramirez is 0 for 10 in the series. Today he is struck out looking, grounded to third, and bounced out to the first baseman, Stanley. 3 for 10 in his career against Derek Lowe. Big swing and a miss, strike one.
Lowe got a sinker up and over the plate that time. Pretty good pitch to hit, but Ramirez swung right through it. Now, Lowe very slow in his delivery to home plate, and Jason Varitek behind the plate, even though he caught 26% of the runners on the season. Robbie Alomar stole 37 bases. If he works for a good jump over there, I don't think Varitek's going to have a chance to throw him out at second base.
0-1. There goes Alomar, and it's grounded down to third. Balance in the short hop, throws in the dirt, and Stanley can't make the play. Another defensive miscue in this series by the Red Sox. Valentin's second huge error of this series, and we're tied at 3.
Well, what appeared to be a routine ground ball. Derek Lowe had done his job, got a dangerous hitter to hit a weak ground ball to the third baseman. Valentin makes a nice play on the short hop, chooses to throw on the run rather than set himself and make a good strong throw across. That's a tough hop for Mike Stanley. That's that in-between hop. It didn't bounce far enough away from him or close enough to him. Just that in-between hop. Tries to make the backhand play, can't come up with it. Boy, Valentin would have been much better served to get his feet underneath him, get his shoulder pointed at that target, and make a good, strong overhand throw.
We mentioned the second error of this series, both huge by Valentin.
Valentin laid back on that particular ball, threw a sinker across the infield to Mike Stanley on that play.
And of course that error was with Derek Lowe on the mound in relief of Martinez. And then the very next batter who steps in now, Jim Thome, played long ball to tie the game. Fastball in there is strike. Alomar advancing on to third. Manny Ramirez still hitless in the series. Boston should have been out of this inning. Oh, 2 on the changeup.
That pitch was set up well by the pitch before. Derek Lowe hammered Jim Thome inside with that hard sinker. Locked him up and then comes away with a changeup just off of the outside corner.
Runners at first and third. 3-3 game. 2 down in the Cleveland 7th. And Lowe ahead of Thome at 0-2. Inning over. But not before the Tribe ties the game on the throwing error by Valentin. 3-3 our score.
I knew I was in for the fight of my life, but I was ready.
When my husband and his friends start exchanging fish stories, it's the phone bill that can turn into a whopper.
I fought this monster for hours. First I had the upper hand, then he took control.
That's why we always dial 10-10-321. With 10-10-321, calls over 10 minutes are 50% off. That's just 8 cents a minute. Daytime, nighttime, anytime.
I'll tell you, it was like a whale.
Yeah?
You should have seen this.
Well, let me tell you about my trip.
Dial 10-10-321 and talk as long as you want, whenever you want.
Hey, Danielle, how's it going? How come you're using this?
It's how most people do it.
That doesn't make it the best way. We could make our pizza sauce from tomato concentrate like some of the other guys, but we use a sauce that's canned fresh. To me, it tastes better than sauce made from concentrate. Maybe you should do it different than most people.
Keep squeezing, Dad. Keep squeezing.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Keep going, Dad.
Get a large one-topping pizza for $8.99. Get a second large for just $6.99.
Can I see some ID, please? Yeah, you're 21, just barely. That's yours, I guess. Thanks. Thank you.
Kelso discovers his soft side.
Hi, Daddy.
We're studying. An all-new That 70s Show, 8:30, 7:30 Central, Fox Tuesday.
Get a look at the other division series. They're all set for the championship series in the National League. Two teams from the NL East. It'll be the Braves and the Mets beginning Tuesday. Later tonight on NBC, Game 3 in the Yankees-Texas series. And then tomorrow here on Fox, we'll either have the Yankees and the Rangers, or should this one go to Game 4, Cleveland and Boston. 3-3 game as Merlone begins things in the Boston 7th against Jarrett Wright, who's given up all 3 runs on in relief for just the second time in his major league career. His other relief appearance came in Game 5 of the ALCS last year when he was sensational against the Yankees, going 6 innings, allowing only 2 hits and 1 run in relief of Chad Ojai. 3-0.
I see Sandy Alomar having some words with the home plate umpire Tim Welke. But that last pitch was a strike. Jarrett Wright struggling to get that fastball down into the strike zone, missing up high consistently.
Veritek will follow. The 3-1 to Merlone is fouled out of play, so Wright is battled back and runs the count full. DePaula and Rincon again getting loose in the Cleveland bullpen. That one almost hit him. It's ball 4, and the Red Sox have the go-ahead run aboard to begin the 7th inning. Like to remind you to look out for the Gillette $1 million Strike Zone Challenge. Game 3, it'll be coming your way of the American League Championship Series right here on Fox. Lucky fan will have a chance to win 1 million bones. Not too shabby.
Not shabby at all. Got to throw strikes, so if you want to win that $1 million challenge, just like Jarrett Wright's going to have to start throwing strikes if he wants to remain in this ball game.
Veritek is lined to right. He's doubled to left and scored a run. And he gets hit with a pitch. So Wright watches his team get a break to tie the game in the top of this inning. He started the bottom half with a walk and a hit batsman. Boy.
Nothing too tricky about it. Just a fastball. Sails up and in. Clips Veritek. He's on his way down to first base. Wright has not had good command of that fastball since he came into this game. I thought perhaps he'd settle in here in his 3rd inning of work, but that has not been the case.
So a rough outing for Jarrett Wright following Dave Burba. He leaves with 2 on and nobody out.
Pentium 3 processor on.
I consider myself the luckiest man in baseball because I just found out that Wendy's Bacon Mushroom Melt is back.
Wendy's delicious bacon mushroom melt.
When you gotta have one, you gotta have one.
Now without a prescription, Lamisil AT for athlete's foot. So powerful, it cures with just 1 week's use. These take 4. So powerful, 3 months later, you're still athlete's foot free. Lamisil AT, the best way to cure athlete's foot.
I am an American soldier. I am a member of the United States Army.
You are my brother.
You are my sister. You are brave.
And full of courage.
You're my son. You are my daughter.
You're a peacekeeper.
I am proud of my country and its flag.
You stand tall.
You make me proud.
You keep your promises.
You keep me safe.
You are my hero.
You keep freedom alive.
For I am an American soldier.
His grace on the field can't be matched. His contributions can't be missed. His homers travel 450 feet. His support goes even farther. Major League Baseball Charities has teamed with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Together, we're giving kids a world of opportunities. He has the drive to be a big leaguer, but hasn't forgotten what it takes to be a little kid.
NFL This Morning. Join Chris, Marv, Jackie, and Chris for a wild hour of pregame power.
They bring it.
NFL This Morning, Sunday on Fox Sports Net.
Back at Fenway Park in Boston, 3-3 game. The Red Sox in the last of the seventh with 2 on, nobody out. You get a look at catcher cam. We thank Sandy Alomar Jr. for wearing that here today.
You see Sandy Alomar having a look around at the infield there. Mike Hargrove, I am sure, talking to the Indians infield defense about what to do in the event of a sacrifice bunt. Darren Lewis put down 14 sacrifices, as you see Rincon coming on to work here. Darren Lewis with 14 sacrifice bunts on the season, a very adept bunter.
Rincon came over from the Pirates in the deal for Brian Giles. And you see his numbers, an ERA of close to 4.5, and you have to believe Lewis will be asked to bunt. 2 on and nobody out. And the bluff throw back to second base, and Lewis had shortened up on the back.
Oh, watch the Indians defensively to see what they do. Travis Fryman, the third baseman, going through the signs right now, letting Rincon know exactly what defensive play the Indians are going to employ right here. Generally in this situation, you want to bunt the ball down the third base line, force that third baseman to come in and make the play, allowing the runners to advance behind him.
They charge on the corners, and it's bunted foul.
Now that time the Indians used the wheel play, starting that third baseman charging hard from third. Watch Sandy Alomar as he flips the mask off, catcher cam and all. Mask comes down, hits him right on top of the head. Ouch. That is not good. Fryman charging from third. Vizquel was moving over to third to cover the bag, so Lewis just tried to bunt it out in front of home plate, and Sandy Alomar will have a headache after this ball game. You see Fryman coming in.
0-1 pitch, and again Lewis drops the bunt. They go to third. They get the out. They cut down Merlone. Terrific play made by Fryman, and Vizquel coming all the way from short to cover the bag.
Boy, slow break at second base by Lou Merlone. On the wheel play, when that shortstop starts to break for third base as a runner, you can see this guy out of the corner of your eye. Merlone's got to come off a little bit more with that shortstop. Good play by Fryman to get on that bunt quickly and throw to Vizquel to get the lead runner. That was actually an outstanding bunt by Darren Lewis, even with Fryman charging from third base. That was just lackadaisical base running on the part of Lou Merlone at second base.
And of course he's in there for Nomar Garcia-Parra. Now Trot Nixon, and he takes high and away, ball 1. Nixon has flied to center. He had a sac fly run batted in. Back in the 5th. The 1-0 to Nixon. Fouled off with a cue shot off the end of the bat, evening the count at a ball and a strike.
You mentioned Nixon, a .270 hitter on the season. Hit .290 against right-handed pitching, only .116 against the left-handers.
Veritek at second, Lewis on at first with 1 out, 1-1 pitch is low and away, 2 balls and a strike. With Jose Offerman waiting in the on-deck circle. 3-3 game, last of the 7th. Two and two.
There you see the numbers I was talking about. He's done the majority of his damage this year against right-handed pitching.
The Red Sox with a chance to take the lead here in the bottom of the 7th inning with 2 on and 1 out. And a 2-2 pitch. Rincon to Nixon got him swinging for out number 2.
Big sweeping breaking ball from Rincon. Very tough for any left-handed hitter to hang in against this pitch. Starts it on the inside part of the plate, breaks it over the outside part. Big swing by Nixon. See how spread out he is in that batter's box. Trying to eliminate any kind of movement of the head up and down, but still not able to get that breaking ball.
So now it'll be Offerman, who has not had an at-bat in this series from the right side of the plate. During the season, Offerman faced Rincon twice and was 0 for 2 against him. And now the pitch. A little bit low for ball 1.
Offerman, a .268 hitter against left-handed pitching, as opposed to facing right-handers where he was a .301 hitter.
Two on, 2 out in the Boston 7th inning. And Rincon delivers. Outside, he's fallen behind Offerman at 2 balls and no strikes. Valentin, who waits in the on-deck circle, went from hero to GOAT in a matter of moments. He hit the home run to give him the lead in the 6th. The throwing error allowed Cleveland to tie it in the 7th. 2-0 pitch. About off, and you can see that Offerman swing right-handed as opposed to left-handed. Very, very different.
And if you're wondering about the Indians' outfield arms, Jason Varitek, the runner at second, average speed at best. Dave Justice with an accurate, but at this stage in his career, somewhat weak throwing arm. Kenny Lofton, not a strong arm. Manny Ramirez, a very strong but erratic arm in right field.
3-1 now on Jose Offerman.
Of course, Justice in left field here at Fenway, we talked about it earlier, so much closer to the infield than you are at other ballparks. Pretty good chance he could unload a good throw to home plate.
Three balls, 1 strike to the Boston second baseman. And there's ball 4. They're loaded for Valentin. We'll see if Mike Hargrove will make yet another pitching change. Wright started the inning, brought on Rincon, who retired the only 2 batters he had faced until that walk. Valentin his last time up in the 6th against Jarrett Wright. See ya. Valentin in his career, outstanding numbers with the bases loaded. They leave Rincon in to face him, and there's ball 1. Valentin this year with the bases loaded, 2 for 7. Are you surprised by this move from Mike Hargrove?
Indeed I am, and I think perhaps it has something to do with the fact that the Indians have a 2-0 lead in this series. Although we know Sean DePaula is loose and ready to go. He was warming up with Rincon down there in the bullpen.
1-0 on Valentin. Count even, a ball, a strike.
You see the numbers, John Valentin versus lefties versus righties. No home runs against left-handed pitching.
Varitek, Lewis, Offerman aboard with 2 away in the Red Sox 7th inning. And the 1-1 pitch. In the air down the right field line. That will bend out of play into the seats. So Rincon ahead of Valentin at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Now, this is somewhat surprising, Tommy, that Mike Hargrove did not go to his right-hander in the bullpen. Generally, he uses Paul Osemacher and Paul Shuey as setup guys in the 8th inning to get the ball to Mike Jackson when they have a lead.
1 ball, 2 strikes pitch, and it missed inside. Rincon wanted the call and didn't get it.
A very close pitch right there. Looked like a little cut fastball that started over the inside part of the plate and ran in on the right-handed hitter. You see where Sandy Alomar is set up. Perhaps ran in just a little bit too far.
The starter, Dave Burbu, had to leave the game with tightness under the right forearm. Still sits and watches. 3-3 game. Bases loaded. 2-2 pitch to Valentin with 2 out. It's ball 3. Well, now the Fenway Park crowd will in unison stand and cheer this 3-2 pitch. The runners will get started.
Great speed at first base in Offerman and second base in Darren Lewis.
We'll do it again.
That's 3 consecutive pitches that Rincon has tried to run in on the hands of John Valentin.
3 runs, 6 hits for the Indians. 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Red Sox. Boston trying to stay alive in this best-of-5 series, down 2 games to none. 3-3 game, 3-2 pitch with 2 away. And Rincon turns it loose. Drill down the left field line. Fair ball into the corner. 1 run scores. Lewis scores. They wave Offerman. That one bounces into the stands. A ground rule double. A 2-run double by Valentin. From hero to GOAT to hero again in 3 successive half innings for John Valentin.
Rincon tries to go away after jamming him on 3 consecutive pitches, and Valentin keeps it just fair down that third base line. Ball bounces up and into the stands. A big-time break for the Indians because Jose Offerman would have scored on that play if that ball had stayed within the field of play.
Runners at second and third now for Daubach. And he takes in the dirt, smothered beautifully by Alomar. So Hargrove rolls the dice. They come up snake eyes here in the Boston 7th, leaving Rincon in to face Valentin.
Now Phil Regan, the pitching coach for the Indians, on his way out to the mound. Indians still have Sean DePaulo, the right-hander, down in that bullpen ready to go. Probably worked Daubach very carefully here, although Mike Stanley, the on-deck hitter, a very strong right-handed hitter, has got a track record of coming up with big base hits when the Red Sox have needed them this year.
Well, the winner of this series will advance on to the American League Championship Series, which begins right here on Fox Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Daubach in his career is 0 for 1 against Rincon. And the umpire goes down. Did the follow through on the swing and a miss? Did that bat get a hold of Tim Welke?
It looked like it came out of Daubach's hands after he swung at the pitch. Boy, it caught Tim Welke right on the side of the head. Daubach fooled, tries to reach out and get this breaking ball on the outside part of the plate, just loses the grip on the bat. Man, fortunately, Tim Welke appears to be okay. Woo.
His buddy Jim McKeon, the first base umpire, going to come in and double check to make sure he's all right.
It looked like the bat mostly caught mask, which is a very, very fortunate situation for Tim Welke. Take a look at it once again. Many times when a batter gets fooled by an off-speed pitch, they really try to extend and reach out and sometimes loosen the grip on the bat. And that time Daubach just completely lost the handle on it as it spun around his shoulder.
1 ball and 1 strike. And a high drive, well hit into left center field, lofted at the wall, and it's off the wall. Are they calling home run? Yes, they are. Home run by Daubach. Phillips racing all the way out there, signaling home run, and Boston leads 8-3.
Daubach put a charge on this ball to straightaway center field. A fastball down and out over the plate. He stayed with it, didn't try to pull it. And you'll see this ball as it sails over the center field wall. Kenny Lofton waiting to play a carom. It hits in that netting over there beside the camera well.
An explosion here in the Red Sox seventh. They've scored 5 times and lead 8-3.
I was born hungry.
Daubach, a huge home run, gives Boston an 8-3 lead.
And you'll see the ball hit in the netting above the center field wall and to the right of that yellow stripe. Clearly over the fence. A great job by left field umpire Jim Joyce to hustle out there and get a real good look at that play and get the call right.
Sean DePaula, meanwhile, has come on to face Mike Stanley. Bases empty. 5 runs have scored in the Boston seventh. There's a strike.
That Red Sox bench, they're fired up over there. Their superstar shortstop unable to do anything but cheerlead tonight.
Well, it speaks volumes about this Red Sox team. Jimmy Williams told us before the game, hey, Garcia Parra, he may not go. We know about Pedro Martinez, but I still believe in this team. And to come out and score 8 runs against the Cleveland Indians bullpen to take a 5-run lead. But by no means is this game over. Not the way the Indians have been pounding clubs into submission the entire year, scoring over 1,000 runs. Still 2-2 on Stanley.
Sean DePaula in the game for the Cleveland Indians. 6'4", 220-pound right-hander. You get a look at Daubach in his first 4 at-bats in this series. 4 strikeouts. And his 5th at bat, big fly. DePaula just ripped through the minor leagues this year. He started in the Carolina League A-ball. He spent 4.5 months between A-ball and Double-A Akron. Finds himself pitching here in the division series in October.
And there's ball 4 to Stanley. Of course, Daubach, 27 years old. Spent all those seasons in the minor leagues, never getting the chance to play, coming up through the New York Mets system. Appeared in 10 games for the Florida Marlins last year, and he's become a local hero here in Boston this season. Native of Belleville, Illinois.
Well, hitting 3-run home runs in the postseason will tend to make you a local hero.
Well, he had some huge hits during the regular season just to get Boston to this postseason. Strike called. Another quiet day for Troy O'Leary. 0 for 3. Behind at 0-2. O'Leary, the 9th man to bat in this 5-run Boston 7th inning. They've been helped by 3 walks and a hit batsman. But some clutch 2-out hits, the 2-run double by Valentin, the 3-run home run by Daubach. And there's a base hit in the left by O'Leary, his 2nd of the series.
Tonight have not been able to get it done with runners in scoring position. The Red Sox, on the other hand, have taken advantage of their opportunities in this ball game.
Maloney started the inning by drawing a walk against Jarrett Wright. Here's a base hit into center field. They'll wave around the runner. Scoring is Stanley. The ball gets by Fryman at third, and able to scramble into third base is O'Leary. The run-scoring single by Merloni, and it's 9-3 Boston.
Merloni nearly knocks DePaula off the mound with this grounder back through the middle of the field. High pitch up and out over the plate. Boy, it turned into a fire drill at this point. The run was going to score easily. Lofton gets to the ball in center, looks up, sees the runner caught between second and third. He mysteriously holds up to let the ball go by. You continue to run, that ball hits you and gets away. It got away anyhow. DePaula was backing it up, able to hold the runner at third base. A strange set of circumstances here in this inning. Wheels have come off for the Cleveland Indians.
Well, their bullpen has been an unmitigated disaster here in Game 3 of this series. Dave Burba went the first 4 innings, allowed 1 hit and no runs before leaving with tightness under his right forearm. Wright, Rincon, and now DePaula are getting lit up. Now Veritek, who's been hit by a pitch and scored a run in this inning. 1 for 2 in the game. Two and 0. O'Leary at third, Merloni aboard at second with 2 away in the inning. Foul out of play. There were 2 outs in this inning, and it was still light outside.
Veritek taking another shot at that green monster in left field on the 2-0 pitch. Got a pitch up and out over the plate. Just a little bit tardy. Fouled it into the left field seats. He doubled off that left field wall back in the 5th inning.
Popped up. Right side of the infield. Alomar the call and the catch, but not before the Red Sox explode for 6 innings. Highlighted by the 3-run home run from Nomar. It is 9-3 Red Sox. Daubach and the Red Sox, a 6-run 7th inning, and they lead 9-3.
Well, after the John Valentin error last inning, Jim Thome comes up, takes a sinker on the inside part, swings and misses it, a changeup away, and then Lowe comes back inside. Boy, talk about putting a hitter in the rocking chair. Push him off the plate with a sinker that tails back over the inside corner, go away with a changeup, and then come right back in with that sinker again.
Now batting for Cleveland, number 33.
Derek Lowe, the loser in Game 1, when he pitched so brilliantly in relief. Really, the only mistake was a home run he served up to Thome. And now a chance to become the winner here in Game 3 and give the Red Sox one more chance perhaps tomorrow, although we mentioned you never ever figure Cleveland is going to give up. And here we go in the Indians' 8th inning, a base hit by Baines to center field.
Number 23, the left fielder.
The Indians had a sense of history for their comebacks in 1999. They became the first team in Major League Baseball history to record 3 comeback victories from 8-run deficits in the same season. Dave Justice takes outside ball 1. They overcame 8-run margins against Tampa Bay back in the first week of May. July the 3rd against Kansas City. And then the one everyone will remember, August 31st against Anaheim, when they were down 12-4. Rod Beck begins to get loose in the bullpen.
Jimmy Williams making his way out to the mound. Casting an eye out towards that right field bullpen. He's going to talk it over with Derek Lowe, his young right-hander. Well, there's no question that this Indians offense is capable of those kind of eruptions that you talked about, Tom. Jimmy Williams just out there to remind Derek Lowe, you've got a big lead. Put the ball over the plate. Keep it down low. Let the sink on that ball. Force the Indians hitters to put it on the ground. Let your defense work behind you.
I mean, bear in mind, the Indians became the first team in the history of baseball to trail a game by 8 runs and win that same game by 9. That one on the ground to Stanley. They get one, and that's all, as Merlone will hold it wisely so at second base. Keep that in mind. They were down to a game 10-2 and won the game 20-11.
And Jimmy Williams is certainly aware of that fact, as is Mike Hargrove. Both managers playing this game right now as if it were a one-run ball game. Rod Beck, the closer for the Boston Red Sox, loose and ready to go down in that bullpen.
Travis Fryman, 1 hit in 3 at-bats. He singled back in the second inning. Strike 1. Hit hard. They have a chance for 2. There's 1. And there's 2. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 9-3 Boston.
Ameritrade. Believe in yourself. And by Wendy's Bacon Mushroom Melt. When you gotta have one, you gotta have one.
Game 3, American League Division Series. Boston came into this one down 2 games to none. The Red Sox get 6 runs in the 7th inning and lead 9-3. And Mike Hargrove again will go to his bullpen and bring on the submarine right-hander Steve Reed.
Reed, as you might imagine, very tough on right-handed hitters. Very tough if he gets ahead in the count. You see his numbers on the season. In the '98 season, when Steve Reed got ahead in the count, the batting average against him fell down under 100. Once he gets ahead, he can go to that frisbee-like slider that breaks all the way across the plate. Also has a sinking, tailing fastball, and will throw an occasional changeup from that submarine delivery.
Like to remind you, this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of Major League Baseball. So the Red Sox come to bat for what they hope will be the final time in the ball game. Darren Lewis, 1 for 3, has knocked in a run and scored a run. A tough break for the Indians in this one. The injury to Dave Burba, who looked so good through the first 4 innings, allowing only 1 hit and no runs. Left with tightness under the right forearm. But the Red Sox have taken advantage of that break, scoring 9 runs against the Cleveland bullpen. That one shot into right field, a base hit by Lewis.
That's how I'm kind of surprised that teams around the American League don't put a reverse shift on Darren Lewis. We mentioned at the top of the show, an opposite field hitter will even take pitches on the inside part of the plate and shoot them into right field. Does it once again right here.
Clyde Nixon, 0 for 2, a sac fly run batted in back in the 5th inning. And he pops it up. Lofton now backpedals and tucks it in the leather, 1 away. Like to remind you, tomorrow on the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, Randy Moss will be under the microscope. Last week, was it his breakthrough game, or has the NFL figured this guy out? Find out on the pregame show. It all starts Fox NFL Sunday, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Fox. for Offerman, and he takes ball one. Well, it will go overlooked because of the 3-run double, or the 3-run homer by Daubach, preceded by the 2-run double from Valentin. But Offerman, an outstanding at bat in that 7th inning when he drew the walk with 2 on and 2 out, which loaded the bases, setting the stage for Valentin.
3 walks by Indians pitchers in that 7th inning. 2 of the 3 came around to score. Also a hit by pitch to Jason Varitek, and he scored.
On the ground, foul, and it's 2-2 on Offerman. We talked about Daubach, originally selected by the Mets in the 19th round back in June of 1990. Came up through the Mets farm system, never got a chance. Was signed by the Marlins to a minor league free agent contract. Got only 15 at-bats last year. Got the chance here in Boston this season, and a breakthrough year for him. 3-2.
Now, there were some signs that Daubach was going to be an outstanding major league hitter back in '98, playing for Charlotte. Hit .316 with 35 homers, 45 doubles, and 124 RBIs for the Florida Marlins AAA team.
There have been so many of those guys in the past, and Bob Brenly, you are a case in point. Many seasons, big numbers in the minor leagues before finally getting your chance at the major league level, and you became a National League All-Star catcher. There's so many guys down there if they were just given the chance.
And there's a lot of reasons why they don't get their chance. Many times they're log jammed behind good players at their position at the major league level.